Hi, it's Isabel, A Curious Tale. I hope you're all doing well. Today I wanted to make a quick video about 5 different ways to connect with a new tarot deck or a tarot deck that you really like and you want to sort of deepen your connection with, study, and yeah, just feel closer to. So I'll just share my 5 quick tips. You might have heard them before, you might not have done. And yeah, I'd love to know any ways that you bond with tarot decks you'd like to get to know better as well, because I'm always up for trying new things as well. So the first one will be to edge your deck. I feel like thinking about what colour you want to make the edges and just sitting and edging each individual card, which obviously takes a little while, not only gives you a chance to look at the images on each card. I usually do it with my deck still in order, but yeah, it also just gives you an opportunity to think about the feel of the deck, the personality of the deck, and then you have your own personalised deck as well. So I feel like that it always makes me feel closer to things, if that's decks, clothes, anything, if I've personalised it, because someone could edge it in the same colour as you, but they might not, and it just it makes it your deck, and then I would make a case for the deck, or select and purchase a specific case for the deck. I think the boxes decks come in are lovely and they look really good on a bookshelf, but for me I always prefer taking the deck out or keeping it in if it's a very small tuck box, and then having that in its own pouch. And again, just like edging it, it gives you the chance to think, what colour do I want to make the case, what kind of trinkets might I want to add or embroider, about the lining. And again, it just really makes you think about the personality of the deck, what it means for you, your associations. And then if it's in a fabric bag, I feel like it's a lot easier to carry around with you, and it just looks beautiful. So I'll go to some others later.
Okay, so it's actually many hours later. I had a few adventures today and now I'm back and in a slightly different location. So yeah, just picking up where I left off, as well as edging the deck in your colour of choice and making a case. Another thing I love to do is to make my own little guidebook. So most tarot decks come with either a full-size book or a little white book, a small guidebook, and I like to make my own, just meaning that after I go through the guidebook written by the creator, I like to make my own notes, do whatever work I want to do, and then when I feel like I've been working with the deck for some time, I like to condense that into a mini notebook. And that's just an easy way to carry your notes around with you, especially if, like in point number 2, you've already made your own case. You can make sure that the case you've made has enough space for your own little guidebook as well, and then you can carry them around with you, maybe with any other sort of trinkets that you wish to pair the deck with. So even just the practice of condensing your more in-depth notes into a small book is going to really cement that information in your mind, and just help you learn, certain decks might, certain cards might be a certain goddess in some decks, or they might depict a certain place, and then you can put that all in your guidebook that you carry with you, but just the act of creating it is going to help you memorize a lot of things that will make reading for yourself and others easier. And to me, it just feels more authentic. If I'm using a deck to read for other people, I want it to be a deck that I really understand. If it's showing an image, then I can tell the client what that image is with, from my own knowledge and understanding, not having to reference a book. If I'm working with the deck with myself, then I feel like it's a bit different because I could be studying myself while I do the reading. But I think for others, it's important to have that knowledge. So if you've gone through the process of making notes and then making your small book, then by that time you're probably going to have a really good understanding of the deck, and either way you're going to be able to access that information very easily. And then again, just like with the case, just like with the edging, it's another chance to get creative and translate the aesthetics of the deck into a notebook, however that might look. So I think it's a fun process, a great way of learning about the deck and really cementing that information in your brain. I think a lot of studies show just the act of putting pen to paper and writing something down is really helpful to memorize things, much more so than, say, typing on a screen or just reading alone. You know, it's like that active learning that really cements things in the mind. So yeah, I think it's very useful. And then especially if you're traveling and you might not be able to fit one of the larger guidebooks in your luggage, you have that small guidebook with you to take around. And again, it just adds another layer to the deck of this is something only you have. Even if it's a mass market deck, only you have this guidebook you made, so it just makes it personalised again. And then number 4 would be to take your deck to places that's very special to you. So that might be places in nature, spiritual sites, even just places that might not be, well known. They're not on the map for anyone else apart from you. They're just places that are really important to you. And I feel like if you take the deck with you to those places, then you just feel more connected to the deck, and it's creating links between something that's special to you and the deck. And again, you could argue, do these places imbue any kind of special significance on the deck, or is it just in your mind? And I think that's really something that's personal to everyone, but either way it works, in that you have these mental associations now with the deck and these places that are very special to you. And then when you're there, you can also think about how does this deck relate to this place? What do I find special about this deck and also about this place? Are there any connections? Are there any similarities? It's just quite interesting. And I think then having those memories of having that deck with you in those special places, you could even do a quick reading when you're there, depending where you are. It will just, again, build connection, build great memories, and this deck will now mean things to you that it just doesn't even mean to anyone else. It's creating that very personal connection, so that when you look at certain cards, you might have connections in your mind to certain places, certain sacred sites, certain places in nature that other people might not have, in the sense that you can then give new insight or a new interpretation to the deck, which I think is very interesting. And it's also just fun, to go on adventures, take your deck, take some photos of your favourite cards with an interesting background, just another way to use the deck as a springboard for creativity as well. And then my final point is slightly more vague. I would call it world building with your deck. So what I mean by that is I see a lot of tarot decks as a world that you step into, and to me the most successful, impactful decks are those that really build an intricate world that you feel when you use the deck you can actually step into and explore. Now this world represents your subconscious, and it's depicted in a certain aesthetics, and I think different people will therefore be drawn to different worlds, because maybe our own, everyone's mind has its own flavour. There are certain aesthetics we're drawn to, but it's not just the surface level of the aesthetics. To me, it's like the whole world of the tarot deck. So, for example, a deck I think is really good at world building is the Witch Sister Tarot. When you start working with the deck, you really feel like you're stepping into like the Scottish Highlands. You can immediately feel yourself, out on a blusterous day on a cliffside with this group of people who are depicted in the deck, the animals. I feel like it's very evocative. You feel like you're going on a journey. And yeah, I hope my tarot deck, the Brunima Tarot, really builds the world of Kathmandu that you can step into and find yourself amongst. It's like small alleyways, bustling streets, and vibrant marketplaces. And yeah, I think the successful decks to me, they're the ones that do build these worlds, and that you can step into these worlds and see different emotions, different parts of your subconscious represented in different ways, in a way that you can interact with, that you want to learn more about. And so world building, how you would kind of take that further, would be looking at your deck in question and asking, you know, what music fits with this deck, what colour scheme, what clothing, what food, what activities, and then just really use it as a starting point, the world of the tarot, to build outside of that into your own world. Trying to think of an example, maybe Brian Froud's deck, you know, the Fairies Oracle, Heart of Fairies Oracle, I think could be a good example from an Oracle deck perspective, because they're very much linked to the Fae and nature, especially set in the British Isles. So, you know, you could think, okay, which music is really evocative of the Fae to me, or of that kind of countryside. I'm going to listen to that music. I'm going to wear clothing that I feel is connected to the Fae, or that makes me think of that, whatever that represents to me, in a way that's in keeping with the deck. You know, what food are you going to eat? Maybe with those decks, I'd sort of bake a very rustic, sweet cake with lots of raspberries and fresh flowers on top, and maybe I would go for a walk in the forest and look for certain things around me that remind me of the deck, and I would, you know, just create this world around me to feel again more connected with the deck, and to just feel like it's a more interactive experience rather than just looking at it. You're actually entering into this world, and I think that will help you get to know the deck better, because it will kind of create associations outside of the tarot or the oracle, and it will also just in a really fun way make you feel more connected with that certain energy or that certain voice. I think if there's another example that springs to mind, I mean, classic one could be Ian Daniels' Tarot of the Vampires. Yeah, just immerse yourself in that world, you know, go to a bar in an underground cave. In Scotland we do have quite a few of those, or listen to some, what would that be? If it was music, I'd say the obvious choice would be like Typo Negative, or, you know, something like that. You just get into that mindset of the deck and immerse yourself in that world. Read some Anne Rice, you know, watch, what would it be? Interview as a Vampire would be too obvious. Lost Boys? I don't know, just watch like films that are evocative of it. Yeah, there's so much you could do that's really fun, and just see it as a way to maybe discover new things, discover new music, clothing, food, locations, or just indulge in hobbies you already have, but just with slightly more purpose. I think that would be, you know, that's really fun, and I think that's what a lot of people would be doing anyway. It's just sort of, instead of doing it, you're just directing it or being more intentional with that. I actually have a deck that's coming out that I'm very excited about, that I really want to do like a world building session about. Maybe I should do a video that takes a deck and sort of extrapolates it into sort of larger world building for tarot activities, to make it more clear what I'm saying, because I hope it's clear, but I'm not really sure. We'll have to see. Let me know if it's clear, if it makes sense, or if it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it's just for me about using the tarot deck as a starting point, and then learning more about what the deck is. Is it about, you know, Dark Goddess Tarot, learning about goddesses from around the world, deepening my knowledge of some I'm very connected to, but learning about some I've never heard of. Use it as a starting point, but beyond, you know, the obvious, which would be study, it can be a starting point for a whole range of cultural experiences, which I think is so fun. So yeah, let me know what you think of that. And I'm going to, I think I'll now show some videos of what I'm talking about, just to show you, so it makes sense what I've been talking about. But yeah, let me know what you think, and also I'd love to know what you do to bond with decks.
So firstly, when it comes to edging the deck, I just want to show a few examples. This is the Oracle of the Hecatean Path, and I've edged it in this sort of deep royal purple, which I think really fits with, you know, the imagery in the deck and the associations I have with the deck. So yeah, we have this purple, and I think this has sort of become my signature colour, the purple, which you'll see in other decks. Then this is a deck that I need to edge, so I'm also going to do this in purple, and I think you can just see the difference, you know, with the white, quite stark edge of the cards, and, you know, the other Oracle deck. I think it really makes a difference just to when it's, you know, stacked together, and you can really see just how it changes, how it looks. At least that's what I think. So this deck will probably also be purple soon, but I just wanted to show, you know, how much difference it can make in terms of how the deck looks and how personalized it seems. Then this is the Celtic Wisdom Tarot, which I edged in a slightly lighter purple. You can also see, just depending on the cardstock, sometimes how the edging looks can differ. This, you know, it really doesn't look uniform, but I kind of like that. I think it really fits with this very sort of hand-drawn, very almost rustic aesthetic that this deck has. I think it fits very well. This is one of my favourite cards from the deck, number 4, so the Keeper, the Emperor. So yeah, that's some edging. So now here are some handmade cases for my tarot decks, just to show, you know, there are some really simple ones. This is, you know, essentially a very long rectangle folded over, sewn up with some ribbon added, and then I've done the same here. This is actually offcut from a camisole I made, and then this again, it's some offcut Tibetan satin from a camisole dress with some vintage lace. So very simple bags, and they're lovely and soft, so they'll be quite protective for the cards as well. And then this I made just slightly differently, that poppers open. I just sat down and, you know, hand sewed it, which you can see very simply, and then I embroidered a sigil here as well, so that fits. This is the Coastal Curiosities Oracle, and then I keep this crystal as well in the pouch. So yeah, these are some of my handmade cases, which I think makes it, you know, easier to carry the decks around in your handbag, or however you like to do that, and also just yeah, just further build on the aesthetic of the deck's tarot, of the vampires in here. This is the Illuminated Night Goddess tarot, and this my mum made. It's a beautiful patchwork bag, so this actually fits 2 decks, but I took out, look at the beautiful lining Nepalese satin. I took out the other deck just because I was storing it and travelling with it, but this is the Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud, and I just put the ribbon around it because when you store 2 decks in here, I just feel like it's easier to keep them separate. So that's another option. You don't have to have cases that store only one deck. You can have cases that store multiple decks at the same time. So these are just a few examples. I've made many cases, I love, also finding cases. My Purnima Tarot comes in a custom-made Tibetan sort of bookcase, so there's so many options available, and yeah, just to me this looks much more exciting than a load of boxes, and it's also, to fit into another point that it's just a lot more portable as well. So along with these cases, I can show you the guidebooks I've made. Here's two of them. So first we'll start off with the Heart of Fairies Oracle by Brian Froud. This case I didn't make, but I got. I think it's really nice, and this is the deck, edged in this sort of light purple colour, and then here is my mini book. This is a mushroom and some simple collage. The book is a natural paper small book from Nepal, but you can get these kind of small books often in sets in a lot of places. And yeah, just give a little flick through the book. I actually have a few spaces because I got to the end and I managed to write, I don't know if you can see, but I managed to write quite small. So I would definitely recommend a very fine tip biro if you're trying to do that. But yeah, this is my guidebook for the Heart of Fairies Oracle, and then this is the Marielle Tarot. This case I made myself. This is a vintage bead depicting the god Hanuman, and then we have a little witch on her broomstick and some vintage diamante pieces or some lace, and an offcut, and then inside this is actually a label on a piece of clothing I got secondhand, and the label had fallen off. I just thought it was sweet, so I added that. And then this is the deck, and edged in this deep purple colour. And then in here we have the mini guidebook. So I had originally, let me find it, originally made my notes on Marielle Tarot in this book, just, a regular sized notebook, and then I condensed it into this mini book, which I take with me with the deck. So yeah, these notes are based on the guidebook, based on my own experiences with the deck, and watching and learning about other people's experiences with the deck. You can see my pen ran out, so I changed colour throughout the book. But yeah, this is my guidebook I made for the Marielle Tarot as well. So yeah, those are just some options for small books I think is interesting. And then when it comes to world building, I think maybe that's something I'll have to go into in another video, just sort of delve deeper into it. But you can imagine, we're talking playlists, we're talking capsule wardrobes, we're talking curated lists of films, and yeah, oops, see, I'm getting excited just thinking about it, that I forgot to put my little guidebook in there. But yeah, that's almost, you could even do a Pinterest board, couldn't you, for the world of certain tarot decks. So I think that's something I'll have to explore in greater detail later, just to kind of show what I mean. But yeah, these are just a few examples.
So thanks for looking at my decks and my examples of what I was talking about. Yeah, let me know what you think about that, and I'd love to hear if you have any ways that you connect with tarot decks that I didn't mention, because there are infinite ways, more ways than there even are decks that exist. So yeah, also just an update, I'm working on the second edition of the Purnima Tarot, but it is taking a little bit longer, unfortunately, than I had hoped. But it is still going on, it's still happening, so please just get in touch with me if you want to share your email address. You can message me on Instagram, which will be shown in the description box, but yeah, just let me know if you'd like to be put on a list to be notified as soon as it's ready, because I'm hoping to get it ready as soon as possible. I'm hoping for it to be, an improvement on the first edition even, so we'll see. But yeah, it will be coming. I'm doing my best, and yeah, I think that's the most exciting thing going on at the moment. But yeah, do follow my Instagram if you'd like to see my other art and other creative endeavours. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you're having a really lovely day or evening, and yeah, I'm trying to do about a video a week, so I will hopefully see you next week. Bye!